Alright, we got done early with the other video. We're gonna do a new fail time. Fail time attempt just sprite number 1. Fail time video number 5. Okay, let's go down to our bottom monitor here. And first thing we want to do is we want to make a new project folder for this. I'm going to call it AJS for attempt just sprite video number 1. Okay, and then we'll put our project in this folder right here, right? Now, the next thing I want to do is open up Godot. So here is, where's my Godot folder here? Here's my Godot folder, and here is the 64-bit version for Windows. I'm going to go open that up, and we're going to create our new project. So let's go over here, and right here, I'm going to go new. See this new button right here? We're going to click that new button right here in the top left corner, and then we have this project name right here. Let's go fill out the project name. Let's call it project name attempt just sprite AJS 001. Then right here we need to actually browse for the file path. So right here, this browse button, we need to click that, and we need to change our drive. See how this says C drive? That's not where my stuff is. It's on a thing called my S drive. So I gotta select my S drive here, and then I gotta go R git repos Godot fail time, hit enter. Okay, so this is where all of my little project folders are. We want attempt just sprite, AJS001. So I'm going to click this AJS001 folder right here. I'm going to hit, I'm just going to double click, and then I'm going to hit select this folder, right? So we want, yeah, let's fucking do it. All right, so now everything's kind of set up. We want to make sure that we're mobile right here. And then we make sure that we want to not have git version control. We just want none here, because we have a whole bunch of projects in here, right? And then we're going to hit create and edit. All right. So now what happens is Godot shuts down and it restarts, and it opens up your project. So while we're waiting for Godot to restart, inside of our repo folder here, we're going to back out of the attempt just sprite project right here. We're going to make a new folder. We're going to go new folder, and we're going to call this folder attempt just sprite. And then inside of attempt just sprite, what we're going to do is we're going to go new text document, and we're going to say C C folders, AJS attempt just sprite. All right, and then inside of this file right here, what we're going to do is we're going to make a tip here, right? So the project you are looking for is in a folder called right? So we'll save that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this text right here, we're going to paste it, and we're going to put this into a README. So we're going to save this. We're going to save this as readme.txt. So what we're doing here is I don't like really long path names in my projects, right? So when we go into this Godot fail time, it's like, what the fuck are all these things, right? Knowing what these things are is going to be really difficult, right? So instead what we can do is we can look at this index, attempt just camera, attempt just sprite, attempt parallax background, right? We can look at these longer-handed things to figure out which one of these shorter folders we need to go to, right? That's what that is about. Okay, so now that we have that all set up, let's go into Godot. Let's go drag Godot down here. And right here, you see 2D, 3D, script, asset lib, 2D, 3D, script, asset lib, all this stuff up here on the top. We want to hit 2D here, and then we want to move on over to this 2D scene node here, right? We're going to click this 2D scene node. It's going to create a new root node, right? So see scene and import right here, right? We want to make sure scene is selected, hit 2D scene. I'm going to rename this node, so I'm going to go rename it, right-click rename. I'm going to call it N2D for node 2D, and I'm going to call it world. This is my world node. Okay. So now we want to create some type of sprite, but we also want to move around that sprite. And to make sure that we can verify that it's moving, we're going to need it to move relative to some type of background. So we're going to need a sprite to move, but we're also going to need some type of artwork. So the last thing we did was attempt just camera. Let's go grab the assets folder from attempt just camera and go into our attempt just sprite and paste the assets into there. And if we go into the assets, we got a goose and we got clouds. That's good enough for me. We can use those two things to do what we need to do. All right, so now inside of here, I'm gonna go scene, right up here. I'm gonna go scene. I'm gonna go save scene. And we're going to save this as n2d world.tscn. TSCN stands for text scene. So SCN stands for scene. T stands for text. It is a text-based scene node file. Okay, so we'll save that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we can just run it right now. We can hit this play button here, just make sure that everything's working. Now it says that we have not selected a current scene here. Now I can just say select current here, or we can cancel, and we can go up into project settings here, go into project settings. Inside of this general tab right here, right, we got all these tabs here. We want the first tab, the general tab. Underneath this application settings, we have this thing called run. Make sure run is selected. And then you can see over here we have main scene. We're going to select something, go into, actually this one, node2d world.text scene. We'll hit open. And now we have the main scene we want to start up when we start the game. I'm going to hit close. And now Control-Alt-S, Control-Alt-Shift-S to save everything and play. And now it just works, right? Now there's not going to be anything there because we don't have anything in our scene. It's empty. So I'm going to close that. And we're going to add a sprite to here. We're going to go add child node. So I'm going to go right-click over here. So I'm over here now. I'm going to right-click. And we are going to, we're going to go add a child node. And that child node is going to be a sprite. So I'm going to type sprite, sprite2d, good. I'm going to hit create. We're going to right click on that. We're going to rename that. So I'm going to rename it to node2d background. And then inside of our background node here, I'm going to see how it's selected, right? If we go moving on all over here, over to this side of the screen, in our inspector right here, we got these different tabs up here. We want the inspector tab, this one right here. If we go to this texture thing, we got this thing that says empty, right? There's no texture for our sprite, so it's not rendering as anything. We want to pull this down, and all this stuff, I don't know what the fuck all this stuff does. We want either quick load or load. Either one of these will work. I did quick load last time, so let's do load this time. And we want to go into our assets folder right here, double click that. We're going to select clouds2048.png right here. We're selecting it. And then we're going to hit open right here, and we see the name is right there, clouds2048.png, right? If we did goose, goose would be here. If we do clouds, right? If we select between these two different things, the name here will change, right? Okay, so we're going to select our clouds. We're going to hit open. Okay, so now we got some clouds in the background. Cool. So now if we hit play, actually Control-Alt-Shift-S first. Then if we hit play, we should see those clouds in the background, right? All right, cool. So now what we want to do is we want to add a goose, but that goose is going to be a sprite, and it's going to be a sprite on top of the background. So we're not going to parent it to the background, though. We want to parent it to the world. So we want to click on Node2D World, right-click, and we want to add a child node, and it's going to be another Sprite2D. So you see how there's Sprite2D right here, because we're search for Sprite. Now if we type Sprite2D here, right, some of the search results go away because there's no more Sprite3D, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes away when we type 2D here. So we want the Sprite2D. We're going to hit create, and we're going to rename this. So we're going to go right-click on the sprite right here, this thing right here. We're going to right-click, and we're going to rename. We're going to call this S2D for Sprite2D. And I just realized that I named the background wrong. This is, so, goose. And then this that I named Node2D background, I mean, technically a sprite does extend from Node2D, so the naming isn't quite wrong, but it's wrong. So let's rename this to S2D background, Sprite2D background, right? Because these are both Sprite2Ds, hence the little face here for the icons here. All right, so this goose needs an image, right? So we're going to do the same thing we did earlier for the background. We're going to go over here, and we see this texture, we see empty. We're going to drop down. Now, we did load last time, so let's do quick load this time. So let's hit quick load. And then we see assets clouds 2048. We see assets goose PNG. Let's go click this. Let's hit open. Okay, there we go. We got a goose. Now, I don't know how this works with the parenting, like, so I guess this renders on top of what came before. Can I drag this around and see what happens? Will it go behind if I move this up? Like, what happens? I'm just curious. Oh, I changed the hierarchy. I didn't want to do that. Can we move it down? Oh, yeah, so we can select move down, control down, and control up. So let me move down. What happens? Okay, so if I move it down, we can't see the goose anymore. So it looks like it's rendering from, back to front, I guess, or it's rendering from the top of the tree to the bottom, and it's pasting stuff over. Anyways, let's go control up on the background to switch that ordering around. Good, good, good. Control-Alt-Shift-S. Play. So now I should see a goose probably up in the top left. Yeah, I see that goose right there. Cool. So now what I want to do is I just want to move around that goose with the arrow keys. I don't want to have a camera or anything. I just want to see, hey, can I move my goddamn sprite, right? So we're going to go to this world here, Node 2D world. We're going to right-click, and we're going to attach a script. See this attached script here? I'm going to go through the process again, right? Node 2D world, right? Right-click, go through your options, attach script. One more time, Node 2D world. Right-click, go through your options, find attached script right here. Okay. So, once we have this, it says resources, node2d world.gd, GD for Godot script. Having the script name match the node file name seems like a good idea to me, so I'm going to go create. Okay. So now that we have this script, we want to somehow modify the sprite position based on the inputs, right? So I'm gonna do it like I did it with the background, and with the background we did a camera, didn't we? Yeah. So okay, so this is the process. This is called every update frame. We're gonna say I'm gonna say dir this time for direction. Equals, actually, if it's a global up here, we're gonna use a longer name. Var direction vector2 equals vector2 0, 0 direction. Okay, direction dot x plus minus equals, and then is action pressed. It's not is action pressed. What the fuck is it? It's not is action pressed. What the fuck is it then? Well, we can look at our footnotes here. It's not is action pressed. What the fuck is it then? It's not is really? It's not. Okay, so it's not called is action pressed. What the fuck was it called? I thought that was what it was called. Input dot is action pressed, right? And then we can do UI left here. And then this needs to be an integer, so we need to cast that to an integer, which will make it a 0 or a 1. So, okay, yeah, I see what I did. I see where I screwed up. You have to the input keyword on from it. Okay, so we're gonna go Shift D, no. So it's Control D in Notepad++, but in Godot it is Control Shift D. We're gonna do that a few times. This will be the y-axis right here. And then we want to move left and right on the x, up and down on the y. And that's going to be left and right is negative positive on the x respectively. Up and down on the y is negative positive respectively, right? To go up screen on the y, you have to go negative. So we have UI left. We got to change that to UI right. And then we have to change this to UI up, and then we have to change this one to UI down, right? Okay, so now that we have all this, we gotta get rid of this pass. And we need to move that goose, right? So I want to say var goose sprite 2D equals, and then it's not get tree, it's get node. So equals get node, and the node name is sprite 2D goose, right? And then with that goose, we can say like goose dot, I don't know. I don't see anything in there. Did we do this wrong? Do we have some type of goose dot what? Goose dot, where the fuck are all my properties? Okay. So I don't know where the properties of our sprite are. I guess we'll have to go to the documentation again. So I figured that it would just have like an offset or something, but I don't know. Sprite 2D. All right, description, blah, blah, blah. Here's some properties. Frame chords, frame, flip, centered, offset. Yeah, I thought it would be called offset. What the fuck? All right, let's go look at what offset is. I believe that's going to be basically its XY position. Textures, drawing, offset. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't know why the fuck the IntelliSense fucking sucks. Whatever. Okay, so if we do something like that, that should be all we need to do to move around that sprite, right? So, Control-Alt-Shift-S to make sure that everything is saved, and let's go play. And we should have some goose that we can kind of move around, right? So that goose... Oh my god, that goose is way too fast. Okay. Okay, let's, So let's do times 0. Oh, you know what? I see what I'm doing here. That's not exactly how I want to do that. I see what I was mixing two different ways of doing something together. What we could do is, instead of direction X, right? That's not how I want to do it. It should be like this, right? And this is just like the simplest way to do it, right? Right? This is just doing things in a dead simple way. I'm not saying this is not the best way to do it. This is just like me getting it done, right? So then we don't even need this direction vector, right? We can keep it dead simple here. Okay, so save. Use space instead of indentation. Fuck you, and fuck you. I fucking hate that. Okay, Control-Shift-S. Let's go play this again. And see if it's a little bit more sane. So arrow keys. There we go. Yay! All right, yay! We got a little thingy moving. All right, all right. So that's all I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do. Now the next thing we want to do is, now that we've done like just a sprite, right? We don't have any animation or anything. But we're able to use the keyboard to move this around. The next thing I want to do is I want some way to, we're gonna have to think about it. I know what the game needs to be. It needs to be like the player's falling, but like, do we actually have the player falling through a world, or do we just have things flying at it? I think it would be better if the player isn't really moving at all on the Y. It just has stuff flying towards it, relativity. Until we get to the hay at the bottom, and then the player starts falling, I think. Huh. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it. Anyways, we got what we kind of came here for. I'm gonna think about what the next step to do is. I think the next step is we want to combine a camera with a sprite, but maybe not. Maybe we just want a parallaxing background. Maybe we don't even need a camera. I think we probably don't even need a camera. I think a camera for this project is actually too much. Because we can have a parallaxing background, and we don't need the camera. Yeah, we don't need the camera. Alright. So anyways, now that we've done this project, Control-Alt-Shift-S, we're going to go into our listing of projects repo right here. We want to go right-click on it. We want to go git bash, and we want to go git add dot, git commit -m, attempt just Sprite, right? Attempting just Sprite is what we just did. So that'll be my commit message. And then we'll do git push, git SSH master, right? All right. So clear, git remote -v. All right, looks good. Close that, and we're done here. Okay, so back to the title screen here. Alright, this has been Fail Time Video 5, Attempt Just Sprite number 1. So we have just a sprite. Yes, there's a whole bunch of polish we could do, but I just want basic things working right now. I'm going to stop the recording. Like, subscribe, and follow. My name's Kanji Coder.